Mesechta Menochos Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph. We're starting from the regular Yomada's 3 lines from the top. Gufa. Melech, sure. Gufa Memfri Geland. We're going to be talking about Shabbos today. If you remember, we spoke about the placing food on the Yecholim. If it's on one side, you're potter, but if you turn it over to the other side and you put it on the Yecholim, you're going to be chayiv. So, Gufa Memfri Geland. If somebody placed basa on the coals on Shabbos, if he turned over the meat, chayiv. But if he didn't turn it over, potter is potter. Let's understand. Let's understand what's going on here. What is it talking about? If you're going to say that if he wouldn't turn it over like basul, it wouldn't cook at all. In fact, you want a pshita. So what do you come to tell me that he's potter if he didn't turn it over? If you're telling me it's not going to cook at all. Only you want to tell me that even if he didn't turn over the meat, it would have cooked on its own regardless. So for why do you have to wait till he turns it over? Even before he turns it over, he should be chayiv. So the Gemara, after the Gemara,
he says he just put it on. So why should he be chayiv if he just put it on?
What do you mean? He put it on. When he put it on, he should be chayiv. He's saying before he turns it over, because you're saying it's going to cook eventually. So if it's going to, the Gemara is Menochos. Why is he potter? It's because he's not going to cook. It's not going to cook. Of course, I don't need you to tell me that. So rather, you want to say it's going to cook. So why is it potter? When he puts it down on the coals and you leave it there, even without turning it over, it would have cooked.
Why is it potter?
Why is he potter? He should have been chayiv. Why do you have to say only when he turns it over is he going to be chayiv? Yeah, it's talking about the that if he wouldn't turn it over, it would be only one side cooked, but only either a third or half cooked. It's like those maicholim that the robbers don't have time to wait to finish it. But it's not cooked on both sides. It's only on one side. So then he's potter. But then we say it's going to be considered as cooked. Really, it's not really cooked even by Michael Ben Desai. It's only on one side it would have been Michael Ben Desai.
If he turns it over and it cooks only one side?
No, if he turns it over, it's talking about he's doing the second side now. Michael Ben Desai. Kamashman is coming to tell us that anything that's only cooked on one side, the meat that's cooked only on one side, is not. It's not considered as anything to be chayiv on Shabbos till it's cooked from both sides. Rabbi said, even if it's a lie, what's if it's fully roasted? But how much? Only the size of a fig.
So even today, if you take a piece of meat and you put it on the fire and it only cooks on one side, you're not going to be chayiv?
No, not one side. Michael Ben Desai. Michael Ben Desai is machlokes.
It's a third and then you take it off.
Right, so even Michael Ben Desai shouldn't be chayiv. It's only excited that you're going to leave it on and it's going to cook fully.
So if you put it on, even it cooks a little bit.
We're afraid you're going to think
so why
that
does
you
everybody mock not to put the piece of meat on the stove? You want to warm it up. You want to make it warm meat. So
it's on one side. No, it's excited. The same excited we do. Anyway, so we said if it was roasted like the size of a fig on one side, b'makim echad, and it's in one area. The fig, it's not a starfus from a whole bunch of little places to add up to a fig. One place where it was roasted fully, chayv is going to be chayv. So it's mashma dafke b'makim echad. Only if it roasted and the size of a gregaris was the size of the dry fig was in one place. Not that it was spread out and you're combining it. Then it's going to be chai. But what's if you had less than the size of a dried fig, but in accumulation of, let's say, 3 different places where it roasted, it added up to the size of a fig, you wouldn't be chai. In fact, you might have why. But now we learned in the Mishnah, one who makes a little hole, a tiny little hole, he's going to be chai because of the malachas baina. In a wall. We're talking about last Shabbos. So if you want to hichitam, what is it talking about here? Maybe if you're going to say that this tiny hole is b'makom echad in one place and it's just kol shul, l'may chazi. Why should you be chayiv? You can't be chayiv only a malacha that has the shia of chshivas. A little hole, why should you be chayiv? Elalav, why are you saying he's chayiv? It's Sudanish. It's talking about b'shnayim ha'shleishim ha'kaimes, that it's in 2 and 3 places the chazil etzirov that you could combine. So zaraya that you're mitzaref to be to make a melecha chashuva to add up to a gegeris in one place, just like when it comes to the holes. Says Gemara, loy, it's nicht gonna that Gemara could be talking about one hole, and it's not and it's a tiny hole. And it's in one place. The chazel levavidak klida. It's fit to put in like the edge of a key to open, to push in the hole to open the lock and to close the lock. So and therefore you have no raya that you can be mitzvah to the shear from 3 different places. Really, it's not that. Gemara is not talking about 3 holes that you were mitzvah to a bigger hole that made it a chashuv. It's talking about one little tiny hole, and that tiny hole was enough of a melacha chashuva because it was even though it's a little tiny hole. You can how many others don't learn it, like we said that lechatchila, that if it's in 3 places, it's not going to be combined. Here we're starting off. He's telling you that if it was roasted, and even if it was less than a gegeris in each little place, we say it combines. Says it's a different nusach here. Avinu said to Ravashi, and we have a right to that. We also learned in the Mishnah that we combine 3 different places to one. Where do we see that? It says somebody, it's the exact same Gemara, but he's learning it now as a raya, not as a kasha. It says somebody who made a little tiny hole, he's going to be chayiv. How is it talking about? If you're going to say b'makom echad in one place, kol shul l'may chazi. If it's a tiny hole, for what does it fit? It's not a melachas chashuv. It doesn't have the shir of chshivas. Elalah b'shnayim shleishim mekayim, the chazal etziyuf. So no zaraya. So we have takarai from the Mishnah that even if it's 3 different holes, but in combination it makes it a chashivas dika hole. That's how they would make a hole. The first puncture 3 different places, and then make a longer hole. So it's Gemara loy. It's nishkan raya. It's not talking about 3 different. So you have a raya that it combines, just like there you combine the 3 holes to make it a malacha chashuva. So here, by the gegeris, by the tzliya, even though in each place was less than a gegeris, but we're going to add it, combine the 3 places to make it the size of a gegeris, to be chayiv for Shabbos. So Gemara loy, it's nishkan raya. It's no raya. Loylam, I can tell you b'makom echad. And it is a malachas chashuva. The chazoi levacha the akleda, like we said before, that it's chazi for to put in a key. Now we start on next Indian. Okay, so this is one in. Yeah.
So
what do we conclude? We concluded that when it comes to roasting on one side, and it's one side Michael and the you're potter, but it's on 2 sides you're going to be chayiv. And then we said by the size. If it was by tzliya, you only need a full tzliya on one side, a full tzliya of the size of a dry fig, and we said that so you have the 2. You have the first girsa that says that you're not mitzvah of the 3, and the second girsa says you're mitzvah, but you don't have a raya. Okay, you learned. If the Torah would have said, Asher takibul Hashem, what you're going to be makif to Hashem, which part of the minchas you makif on the mizbeach? That's the kmitza, and then it says leisas chametz, meaning that the kmitza is not allowed to be made out of chametz. Hayisi, I would have said ainly that be leisas chametz. I only know the warning that you should make chametz b'negeya tela chametz lavad, because it says Asher takrivu, the part that you're makif on the mizbeach. Which part of the mincha you mark on the mizbeach? That's the kmitza. Mincha menai. In fact, but how do you know that the whole mincha before you do the kmitza is not allowed to become chametzdei? Says the Gemara Talmud mincha. That's why it says the word mincha.
So how does mincha tell you that?
Because we're talking about a mincha, so the mincha is a yitur to tell you even before the kmitza. Says the Gemara Sham Menochos. But here we're talking about a minchas macheshes. This whole pasuk, you look on the left side. in the Hebrew. Kol ha-mincha asher takiv l'Hashem lo yishas ha-chametz k'chol. There it's talking about a minchas macheshes. Okay? In fact, you want to shar menachis. How do you know by other menachis that menayin? How do you know that it's not allowed to become chametzik? Talmud lemer kol ha-mincha. The word kol is coming to include all other menachis other than a minchas macheshes. Even a minchas machmas, any other mincha as well. It says Hashem takiv l'Hashem, which tells you that the Yisrael chimutz is only by ksheira, only by a mincha that it's right to be put on the mizbeach, v'loi psula, but not something that's not re'uya to sacrifice on the mizbeach. L'mashal, mincha that was there's the psula of yetzel achutz. It was taken outside the azara from a lot of places where it's supposed to be, so it became psul yetzel. From here we learn out hamachmitz es haksheira. Somebody who makes a mincha which is kosher chametz chayiv, but that's psula potter. But if he's going to be mechametz, something that's already pasul, then he's not going to be chayiv for making a chametz. But we told you, remember, but you can be over on chametz in 3 different ways. First, by the lisha, by the kneading, and then when you form the dough again, and then when you bake it again. Okay, so I want you to remember that because it's negeya now. But Papa, yes, the shaila. Chimtza.
We looked at yesterday.
Okay, chimtza. If the mincha is chametzdik, the yatzas. Now we had already a psul of chimutz on this mincha. And now comes a new psul v'yatz min hazara. It was psul yetzer. It was taken out of the hazara. V'chaza v'chimtza. And when it was brought back into the hazara, he finished. He did again a chimutz when he baked it. Let's say he kneaded it, right? He kneaded it. He made a chametzik, and now he takes it outside, brings it back, forms it, and puts it into the oven. So is he going to be chayiv for the chimutz after it was taken out? Because
if he did one after another,
then he would be chayiv for sure. But now you have a hefsek of a psul that has nothing to do with chametz. It's psul yetzer. Could it be? Could you still be mechayiv him of mechametz if he made it chimutz already? Yes, they would learn that it's this ufta chiddush. That even though by the kneading it's already chametzik, when you form it and you add more chametz, so when you do something that's chametzik, you're going to be chayiv again for the chametz, and then when you put it in the oven, you'll be chayiv again. But what's if you had a hefsek? You made it chametzik, you took it outside, and now you have a different psul involved, psul yetzer. Bring it back. Could you be chayiv again for making the chametz a second time because you had a hefsek of a different psul of taking it outside?
Yeah, but when you made a chametz dik already, it's puzzled for them as a mincha. So
wait. Oh, 1 second. Maybe you shouldn't be chayiv for making a chametz after chametz. Or I don't know, perhaps kiva mechinza, since it already became a chametz dik before it went out, so the psul of yoitza is not a real psul. Psul yoitza means that if the mincha is 100% kosher, and you take it out, then it's a psul yoitzer. But if there was a psul before you took it out to the azara, you took it outside, it was already chametzik. Maybe that's not considered as a psul, a real psul yoitzer. And therefore, if you brought it back in, so this is how Rashi explains it. Rashi says, "Shema kiven shehuklusha kedushas mincha mishar shepasla mishum chimutz shuv loy chol ala psul yoitzer." Rashi says the psul of yoitzer is not considered. That's the second hava. I mean, the second part of the shaila. Maybe it's not a real psul yetzer, so there was no real hefsek of psul yetzer. So we should
be chayiv all 3.
Right. Even the chimtza psul yetzer le mehani bei. The chad machmetz la mechayiv lo mishmachmetz ach machmetz. Then he will be chayiv maybe. Okay, but we don't know. Yeah, take it. Teach me your thoughts, Kushel. But Rav Mari asked another kasha. Chimtza, if the kohen was mechametz the kometz, but when did he do it? He already brought it up onto the mizbeach. What's it in? It says ashatakrivu. It says when you bring it on the mizbeach, it shouldn't be chametz dik. But now, after he brought it up, he made a chametz dik. It says ashatakrivu amrachmana. He already brought it up. and now it became chametzik, so maybe he's allowed. I don't know, perhaps.
When he brings the mincha on the mizbeach,
When he brings the kmitza on the mizbeach to burn it, before the Aktara, but the Hakrava was there. He brought it onto the mizbeach, and then it became chametzik. So maybe he's not going to be chayiv, because it says Asher Takriu, that it's before the Hakrava. It was already kvar karva, or perhaps mechuser Aktara ki mechuser ma'asedami. Maybe it's like missing in the Hakrava. If it's missing the Aktara, I should say that's part of the Hakrava, burning the kmitza. And since it's still before the burning that it became chametzik, I would say, no, he's going to be chayiv. Teiko. Now that we dash and mikol hamincha, from the word kol hamincha, that the is of chimutz is shaykh on the whole mincha, even before the kmitza. Asher takrivu means only on the part that you put on the mizbeach. The word kol hamincha comes to add, even before you put on the mizbeach, the whole mincha was possible. In fact, you want asher takrivu lamali. So what do I need asher takrivu to tell me that the kmitza is possible if you already know the whole mincha before you take off the kmitza cannot become chametzik? So what do I need asher takrivu to tell me that the kmitza later, well, you're not allowed to make chametzik? It's already from the stage before. It's not allowed to be chametzik. The whole mincha is not allowed. I think you want to be violated Kitzanya.
It's like a kolshkein.
It's not a kolshkein. I don't need it. I have it already. I know the step before already. Oh, you want to learn it as a kolshkein? Fine. Okay. It says we need the dasha for what? Asher takivu comes with Rabbi's minchas nisachim lechimo. It's the extra which Asher takivu has come to tell you that a minchas nisachim is different. A minchas nisachim is brought with other karbanes. So, it's brought with the yayin, nisuch, and a mincha. You bring flour together with a carbon. That mincha is completely burned. It's not like a regular mincha of macheshes or machvas, where only the kmitza is burned and the rest is eaten. This one is all burned. So he's come to minchas nisachim. Okay?
What kind of mincha is that?
It's a mincha that's brought with other karbanes. And it's right. So there, he wants to tell you the is of chimutz is applicable to there as well. Applies even to a minchas nisachim.
Why would I think it's that?
Because it's the whole thing is burned. It's not like a regular mincha. Those are the words of Rabbi Yosef Agli. Rabbi Akiva Ima l'Rabbi's lechma ponim. It comes to tell us about the lechma ponim. Chimutz, because the lechma ponim, none of it is put on the mizbeach by the lechma ponim. The way the lechma ponim becomes mutter to eat, there were shnei bezichin. There were two like spoons, cups with spices that they would burn on the mizbeach, and with that you were able to eat the lechma ponim. But the lechma ponim, none of it went on the mizbeach. So he's come to tell us there too. There's a isal chimutz. In fact, I have a problem with Rabbi Yosef Agli. Rabbi Yosef Agli included from Asher or dashin from the words Asher Takrivu that a minchas nesachim has the isal chimutz. In fact, where's the chimutz by minchas nesachim? Minchas nesachim may paytas say. Here, may paytas doesn't mean fruit juice. It means oil. It's not with oil. Or may paytas say machmitzin. If you take a mincha and you only have oil without water, there's no isal chimutz. So how could Rabbi Yosef Agli say, "Oh, I'm avoiding that you're not allowed to make a minchas nesachim chametzik"? It's not shaykh to become chametzik. Rabbi Yosef Agli. Rabbi Yosef Agli had said, "Minchas nesachim megablu b'mayim ukshered." Rabbi Yosef Agli said, "You're right. You're supposed to do it with oil, but you could also use water. You're allowed to use water if you want. It's still kosher. So once you're using water, it becomes even faster. Comes together with the oil." Lachma ponim fagimara.
What are you using the water for?
It helps it. It needs better, and it puts it together.
It's better with the oil.
Oil with water. You need some water. It says.
What does the water do?
The water helps it that it makes it stick better. Like we
sticking
learned.
from the oil.
No, but we said that the warm, liquid water we had in the Mishnah helps it that it should be smoother. The water helps it to be smoother. Anyway, I'm going to Shlakish had said, I'm sorry, Lechma Ponim Fregni Mother. Who said, Rabbi Akiva said that the words of Asher Takivu has come to tell us that even the Lechem HaPanim has the Issa of Chimutz, even though none of it goes on the Mizbeach. Says Gemara, Lechem HaPanim, Midas Yaveshi. Says Gemara, Lechem HaPanim, the halacha is that it's measured by a separate keli. And that keli, there was a keli that was for liquids, and there was a keli for dry, for the Isarei, to measure the flour. That keli that was to measure the flour wasn't mekadesh, the flour into a mincha. So kol zman it wasn't kiddush, you're allowed to make it chametzlik. It's not yet a mincha. There's no Isa. Lach ma'apanim midas yaveh.
You can't use it though.
Ushamayna leile Rabbi Akiva the Amma midas yaveh shlei niskacha. And Rabbi Akiva is with the shita that the keli, which measures dry goods, the meaning the flour, doesn't become kadesh. So the kasha is, how could you say that there's a isa of chimetz? It only ash becomes kadesh if it's baked. Once it's baked, it's not shaykh to become chametz. Sholach Rabbi Nishmei Rabbi Yochanan Kachi Yatzor Shal Mishnah. He says this is the pshat of the Mishnah, the epuch, and you have to reverse it. Why? Because we'll soon see. Because Rabbi Akiva contradicts himself. Rabbi Akiva says that Asher Takivu is Asher Takivu l'Rabbi Lachma Ponim l'Chibutz. Asher Takivu has come to tell you that the Lachma Ponim, that's Rabbi Yossi HaGlili. It's really Rabbi Yossi HaGlili. And Rabbi Akiva l'Rabbi is Minchas Nesachim for Chimutz. Why do you have to learn that? Because if you can learn, Rabbi Akiva says that it's including the Lechem HaPanim, right? To tell you that there's an Isur, that it cannot become Chametzlik. But Rabbi Akiva is with the opinion that the Keli of the Kli Yavesh is not Mekadesh. So it's not Shaykh, so it's a Stira. So we had to reverse him and say he was, Rabbi Akiva's, what did he learn out from the Dasha of Asher Takivu? The Minchas Nesachim. And Rabbi Yossi HaGlili is the one that was Ma'abel Lachma Ponim, because Rabbi Yossi HaGlili holds that the Kli Yavish is Mekadesh, the flour. So it could become Chametz according to Rabbi Yossi HaGlili, because Rabbi Yossi HaGlili argues with Rabbi Akiva. He says Midas Yavish, that keli that measures the Yavish, Niskacha becomes Niskacha because okay, Rabbi Yochanan goes according to his reasoning. Rabbi Yochanan had said, Rabbi Yossi HaGlili, ve'echad mitalmidei Rabbi Yishmael, amru davar echad. Rabbi Yossi HaGlili and one of the Talmidim of Rabbi Yishmael said the same thing. Said one and the same did. Umanu, which Talmud of Rabbi Yishmael said that? Rabbi Yoshia. Where do we see that? The Tanya that we learned in Abraisa. It says over there in the Geya to the Kalim that they use for Lach and the Kalim that they used for the Mizbeach, that Vayim Sharchem Vayikadosh Oisam. It says that they anointed it and it was Mekadesh them. Rabbi Yoshiim Midas Halach Nimshach Beim B'Fnim Beim B'Chutz, and Midas Yavesh Nimshach B'Fnim V'Lei Nimshach B'Chutz. Now it means like this. Rabbi Yoshia holds that the keli that was used for liquid, if you overflow the liquid, and the liquid, meaning the oil, and the oil hit on the walls, and so, or whatever touched the walls on the outside was Mekadesh, whatever touched the walls, because it becomes Side Kaddish on the inside, and Side Kaddish on the outside. But by the keli that was used for the soilers, so whatever's inside became Kaddish, whatever overflowed and touched the walls on the outside, by the Midas Yavesh would not become holy. Okay? So Zakt Yimada, that was Rabbi Yosha. Okay? Rabbi Yonasan, Rabbi Yonasan, who was the one that was the other Talmud of Rabbi Yishmael, he said Midas Halach Nimshach Mibifnim. The Midas Halach becomes anointed only on the inside. The loy mibachutz, but not mibachutz. Oh, das steht the loy. Oh, no, ve'ein. That's in brackets. The ones that have the square brackets, that's the real gisa. Here you see square and you see round. Ve'ein nimshachu or ve'loy nimshach. So over here, the Veloy Nimshach is written in the square brackets. That's the real Gisa. Veloy Nimshach Melachutz. Okay.
What's the difference if it's Veloy Bay?
Okay, no difference. Okay, so he says Midas Yavesh, Veloy Nimshach Kalika. But when it comes to the Kli Yavesh, the Kli that measures the dry goods, never become. It cannot. It's not Kodesh at all.
That's Mekadesh. Keli doesn't Mekadesh.
Huh? Right.
The soilers.
That's so. Who's following that shita? Look, so Rabbi Yoshe says that what by Kli Yavish does it become holy? Yes, only b'bifnim, but it does become holy. And Rabbi Akiva, who says it doesn't become holy, holds like Rabbi Yonason. That Kli Yavish Kolika doesn't become Kaddish whatsoever. Teidelacha Sharei Emekachis. I'll bring you that the Midas Hayavish is not Mekadosh whatever is in it. Nechsiv, it says in the pasuk, Mimoish ve'seichem toviu lechem tnufa shtayim shnei yasenim sodas tiyana chametz tiyafana b'ikudim laHashem. A Mosai heim laHashem. When are they Kaddish laHashem? Only le'acha shenefu. When you're talking about by the Senim sailors, it didn't become Kaddish in that keli of the measuring the sailors. Only after it was after the words of Teyafena, only by the Teyafena. And only afterwards it becomes Bikurim LaHashem, it says. After the word Teyafena.
Just like Rabbi Akiva.
Like Rabbi Akiva. So you have to have Dafke if it's baked. But according to Rabbi Yossi, he holds like Rabbi Yossi, that it became Kaddish already in the Keli from when you measured it. In fact, you want to might come forget. What are they arguing? What is the Machlekes? Benegay to the Kalim that you say by the Lach, it's Bein Mebifnim, Bein Bachutz, and by the Yavish you say only Mebifnim. Why? So he says Be'oisam, in the word Oisam. So it says Vayim Shachim, Yikadish Oisam, right? So Oisam is mashma that first it says, what does it say? Vayim Shachim. Vayim Shachim is going on the Lach, on the Kli that measures the liquid. Oisam is going on the kelim that are measuring the dry goods. So oisam means only inside. Here he brings down a raya. Oisam mashma chelika ichi yoisa shalakelim daino teicham. Oisam means the chelika ichi of the keli. Which is the ika part of the keli? The inside. So the oisam by dry goods, it's only on the inside. Oisam is not going on. Is not misyachis to the kli that measures the yavish. Oisam is misyaches to the kli that measures the lach, the liquid, and it's lemiut midas yavish bachutz. I'm sorry, Rabbi Yeshua learns oisam. I'm sorry, is misyaches to the keli that measures the yavish, and it's lemiut midas yavish bachutz. The mind oisam, the ikar of the keli is only going to be mekadesh, which is the toich of the keli, but not the outside of the keli. Rabbi Yonason Sava midas yavish chayli. It's completely chayil, has no kedusha whatsoever. You don't need a pasuk to exclude the midah of yavish that doesn't have any kedusha. So what do I need oisam for? Lemiuti midaslach bibachutz. That Rabbi Yonason holds even by the midaslach, only which part has the kedusha. Only the inside of the keli, but not the outside of the keli. But by Yavish, there's no kedusha whatsoever. So right now
we had that before.
Oh, so 1 minute. So right now we said Rabbi Akiva. I'm sorry, Rabbi Yossi Aguli, who says that there's a kedusha in the Yavish, holds like Rabbi Yoshia, who says when it comes to lach, it's the in and the outside, and when it comes to a kli of Yavish, only on the inside. But you see, the inside is mekadesh. That's why. Rabbi Yossi, that's why we learned Rabbi Yossi Aguli says that Asher Takrivu is including the Lechem Aponim. Because the Lechem Aponim did have Kedushas Haguf. By how? When it was measured, the Sedus was measured in the Kli Yavish, like Rabbi Yossi. But Rabbi Akiva says there's no Kedusha. So it sounds like Rabbi Akiva holds completely like Rabbi Yonason. Says the Gemara, Leima Nami, Rabbi Akiva, Be'achat Tamid, Rabbi Yishmael, Amad Be'achat, Umanu, Rabbi Yonason. Why did you say only about Rabbi Yossi Agili holds like one of the Talmidim of Rabbi Yishmael, Rabbi Yeshua, but when it came to Rabbi Akiva, you didn't say he holds like Rabbi Yonasan, the Chayvig holds the same thing. Says you want to know.
Not the same thing, meaning he holds like Rabbi Yonasan.
Rabbi Yonasan, that a Kli Yavish, there's no Isa whatsoever.
Rabbi Yonasan was his Talmud.
Was one of the Talmidim of Rabbi Yishmael. We said one of the Talmidim of Rabbi Yishmael was Rabbi Yeshua. And we said that Rabbi Yeshua Aguli held like Rabbi Yeshua with that, like that Talmud. And Rabbi Akiva, we didn't say holds like Rabbi Yonasan. L'chayda he does. That the Kli Yavish doesn't have any kedusha.
It wasn't his Talmud.
No, it was also Rabbi Yishmael's Talmud. So it says, the reason is because Rabbi Yechon is not mamish in line with Rabbi Akiva. Mishum de Rabbi Yonasan. Mishum de loy b'midas halach lahadadi. They're not equal when it comes to midas halach. According to Rabbi Yonasan, midas halach is only kaddish mebifnim, and according to Rabbi Akiva, it's kaddish bei mebifnim and bei mebachutz. So they're not mamish lined up. Rabbi Yisrael also says by lach, but he says by yavish it's also kaddish. By yavish he holds like Rabbi Yonasan. There's no kedusha whatsoever. But we couldn't say he holds like Rabbi Yonasan in everything, because when it came to lach, he didn't line up with him. Because when it came to Kli Lach, according to Rabbi Yonasan, it's only Kaddish Mebifnim, and according to Rabbi Akiva, it's Kaddish Saim Mebifnim, Saim Mebachutz. Okay, Va'ika Bisa says, you're saying that the Lach Maponim doesn't become holy when it says, but it is. There's a time, there's a stage before the baking it becomes holy, where they needed the Lach Maponim in a special Kli, which is called Bisa. The lachu, it's a kli made for liquid, and that's where they needed the lachma panim. So it became kaddish. Amaleis, Abai answer our papa to going shalosh agabe katavlia, that they didn't have to use that keli, which was a kli shonis that was mekadosh the dough. They were able to knead the dough on a piece of leather, flat piece of leather, and knead it over there. That's what it says. Yeah, tavlia. He was able to use something that was chayil, not a kli sharis.
Why did they want to use the keli to do it?
Oh, in fact, so b'peil mamish you have no raya, because it could be there was no mitzvah by the lach mapanim to do it in the kli sharis. In fact, they come later. Rabbi Yonasan, when Rabbi Yonasan said to Rabbi Yishia, "Take lecha, I'll bring you a raya that the midas hayavish is not holy." It's not mekadosh the kemach that comes in it, right? In fact, the Gemara let Rabbi Yeshua answer by the pasuk of Shtei Alechem is talking about kegoyin the chayla, that he measured the kemach, right? Be isan the chayil in isan of chayil, so that you see, if you have a possibility to be mekadosh in a kli sharis versus something that's chayil, you do it in a kli sharis. Says Gemara, hachi ashta, could you compare? Bishleima bisa like kasachmana the lava bisa lemelishba. He says bisa. The Torah didn't write by bisa that the lech mapanim there's a mitzvah. You have to need the lech mapanim in this keli in this keli called bisa, which is a kli sharis. Ki la shla gabe katavli less lamba. When he needs it, even on a piece of leather, he's not being mevatel any mitzvah. It's mutal chatchila to do so. But el yisarim, when you're talking about benegeya to the yisarim of the shtei halechem, even the Abrahmana aved yisarim v'chayil beis. Since the Torah says do yisarim is usually with a kli sharis. Whenever it says I say yisarim, Isarin is also a name of a kli, but they had a Isarin kli that measured the Isarin. So the Torah says, Shavik Isarin the Kodesh v'chayil Isarin the Chayil. Are you then going to let, when the Torah says Mefeidish the Lashon Isarin, which is meant to be done or measured in the kli sharis, are you going to do the opposite and then do it in the kli chayil? Obviously not. So by the Shtei Alechem, I understand that it has to be done in the kli sharis, but by the lechem haponim, that it has to. There's no tzivoy that it has to be done. Bebisa. We have time still. Yeah. Where's the makeh lemaila mipsar achatas? That that when it comes to put on the mizbeach of the meat of the chatas that's supposed to be eaten, or mipsar asham, or mipsar kachak kedoshim, after you are makriv the emudim, right? That you cannot be mila the other meat that's allowed to be eaten. Once you are makriv the emudim, you're not allowed to be makriv the meat that was supposed to be, that is allotted for the kohen to eat or for the balabatim to eat.
What do you mean? Why would it be makriv?
No, to put it on the mizbeach. You're not allowed to put it on. He's saying, umikachim kalim, after you makriv the emudim.
Oh, so when are you supposed?
So he says the
Are they
chelik,
eating?
the chelik that has to be eaten by the kahanim or the bailim cannot be put onto the mizbeach. Once they put him, or once you
Why would
gave
you
it,
want to do that?
whatever he says, you can't do it.
He
Kadoshim
doesn't want
kalim.
to eat, so he wants to burn
Okay,
it.
okay. Or from the rest over from the mitzvah after the kmitza, that part. What if once you did the kmitza, you cannot take the rest of the mincha and burn it on the mizbeach. Or Menochos, or Menochos. He's telling you that once the kmitza was done, you're not allowed to take the rest of the mincha and burn it on the mizbeach.
What's the license?
The Torah says that you can't do it.
What does it say?
Talmud lema ki chol she'oi v'chol dvash le'isaktidu v'menu ish la'Hashem kol shehu mimenu le'ishim. Any carbon that you already put on the fire, the chelik, which belongs to Hashem, was put on the mizbeach. That's the only part that has to be sacrificed. And the noisa arehu bebal taktiru. But whatever's left over from the oima, it falls under the isa of loy saktiru. Ushtei alach melach ma'aponim yesh ma'am le'ishim. Says the Gemara, the shtei alach and the lach ma'aponim, we know that they are not part. Nothing of it goes to the fire. So the kashi is so since there's nothing of it that goes to the fire. What do you mean? There's a iser of burning on the mizbeach. Why is there iser of taking from the shtei alechem or from the lach ma'aponim and putting on the mizbeach? That pasuk is referring that you took the kmitza and you put it on, and then you say the shirayim you're not allowed. But by lach ma'aponim there's no kmitza. There's no like the shirayim. There's no kmitza done. The shtei alechem no kmitza done. Says Gemara. So they don't need a hagosha because nothing is put onto the mizbeach. He says you're right. From the lacham panim shtei is not put onto the mizbeach, but they are part of the carbon that's brought with the behemoths. Once you mocked the behemoths, or once you mocked the bezichim, it's matir. So since it's matir, the shtei alachem or the lach mapanim. So since it was matir, whatever was matir, the thing that became mutter became like the shirayim, and that part you're not allowed to put on the mizbeach. That's what he said.